But yeah, no, that's awesome stuff to look back and take a look at that. Speaking of looking back and taking a look, let's take a look forward. All right, let's take a look forward at what the potential depth chart is going to look like. This is not great radio, so just bear with me here. I went through the depth chart today and just kind of just projected what it's ultimately going to look like next year. Obviously, Beck coming back, Trevor Etienne, and a bunch of young guys at that running back position. Don't really know how much you're going to see Branson Robinson early on in the year. We'll get to that here in a second. Tight ends, obviously, you guys know who that is. Delp, Lucky, Sperlin, and Riddell. At the X receiver spot, I got Rod Thomas and Dylan Bell splitting a little time. The Z spot, London Humphreys and whoever else doesn't win out that X spot. The slot receiver, Dominic Lovett, obviously, and Anthony Evans. I think Anthony Evans made his name kind of known for who's going to be the next opportunity right there at that slot spot. Arian Smith still in the mix somewhere. Still in the mix somewhere, right? Left tackle, Ernest Green. Left guard, Micah Morris. Dylan Fairchild in the mix at both guard spots. Tate Ratledge, Jared Wilson going into the center spot, and Monroe Freeling. Flip over to the defensive side of the football. I do believe Michael Williams moves to Jack next year. Maybe not full-time, but you'll see him there. Chaz Chambliss backing him up or splitting duties. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Part of the reason I think Michael's going to move to Jack is not only because they need him to do so, but I think they need to clear up some room for 93 to work. 93 was super impactful when he came back from his injury this year. Nose tackle, Nazir Stackhouse hasn't announced he's coming back, but all signs kind of point to that. Same thing for Warren Brinson. If those guys don't return, you're looking at John Jarrett and Christian Miller in that mix. Jordan Hall, guys like that in the mix. The Mike spot, C.J. Allen, obviously. The Willie spot, Smile Mondon coming back, and Raylan Wilson getting some run in there as well. Got guys like Troy Bowles and the new load of freshmen, Justin Williams, Chris Cole, and all that bunch coming in the mix as well. Friend of the show, Christopher Jones coming into that room as well. The star position, big question mark there. Is it going to be Jonel Aguero? Who's it going to be? What's it going to be? What's it going to look like at that star position moving forward? Safety spot kind of seems the only one that you kind of know for a fact. At least one of the spots, Malachi Stark's going to be back there. And then you got a rotation. I got 4 names here. Dan Jackson, David Daniel, Justin Rett, KJ Bolden. Like, who's going to be that other safety spot next year? And then the corner spot. I think there's 5 or 6 names up for 2 spots at that corner spot as well. So when I got to running through that list, before I go to the questions, man, like when I went through that projected depth chart list and really, really dove through it, I got 5 names: Tate Ratledge, Michael Williams, Smile Mondon, Malachi Starks, and Dan Jackson. Those are the 5 names on that depth chart entering next year that have played meaningful roles in a national title. Mm-hmm. That's not a lot. Mm-mm. So, like, real quickly, the book of the 2 natties and the 30-game win streak, real quick, I think that sucker came to a close, right? At least the chapter, not the book. The book of Georgia's reign is still very much so open with pages and chapters left to be written. But this first wave of greatness, those chapters are closed, man. They're 100% closed.
I mean, heck, when you've got 12, 15 guys going to the NFL draft every year, I mean, yeah, it depletes rather quickly. I would say you could throw in Arian Smith into the mix a little bit. That guy made some meaningful plays throughout the last 2 seasons, last 3 seasons, some big-time catches in the college football playoff games as well. But, yeah, not a whole lot of names left, and that's why I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago, like when these guys when these guys were going to start declaring, I was like, it's going to feel like it's the end of like what this last 3-year run was, because these are all guys that were massive contributors to what was accomplished.
Yeah, it's definitely the end of it. It's weird to think about. You look back at the 2021 team. That was only 2 seasons ago, and it's a completely different roster from then. So it is kind of interesting to look at and just see how much it's changed since then, how it is truly the end of an era. But I think it's the beginning of a new era in Georgia football where it's just consistent dominance, and where if you're not competing for national titles or, I mean, making the playoffs should be an expectation at this point. Like, it's a given. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see where Georgia football moves from here.
Is Dan Jackson the fastest walk-on to a starting role ever? He redshirted in 19, was a scout team player in 20. In 2021, he played in all 15 games and started, the last 4. So in 2 seasons.
Aaron Davis at corner.
Who?
Aaron Davis back in 2014.
Okay.
That's not
Aaron
a bad
Davis
one.
at corner.
Well, other than that,
maybe a shout-out to Brendan Douglas. No, he wasn't a walk-on.
I don't think he was. Yeah, I don't think he was a walk-on.
He sure looked like one at times. Sorry.
Jeez.
Sorry.
Oh.
Look, hold on. I got a long history of Brendan Douglas. I'm sorry. Played him 3 times in high school. Just was an absolute, load to tackle, but never rushed for 100 yards. So what's up? But yeah. No, this is one of the faster tracks to a meaningful career as a walk-on, right?
For sure.
No doubt.
A Tracy dude that they took early, was a 4.38 guy out of West Hall, I believe.
Yeah.
North Hall.
Is there a West Hall?
Yes.
Oh, shouts out to the halls.
There's a West Hall, North Hall, and East Hall. And South Hall Middle School.
Get
just
over
no
yourself,
high school.
Hall County. Let's just say it that way.
Whoa,
Get
bro.
over yourself,
Hey,
Hall County.
chill out.
Um,
grounds, man.
But when you look at it, this is an end of an era for Georgia football. And I don't know what else to. I mean, what do you kind of encapsulate it? How?
I think it just shows how quickly time flies by, because I think when I think about Brock Bowers, for the longest it was man, we still got this guy for 2 more years after this freshman year. Man, we still got him for a whole nother year, and then boom, he's declared for the NFL draft. You're never going to see him again in the Georgia G. He is now an NFL football player. And that's why it was so important during those back-to-back natties, just continuing to soak it in, telling people really enjoy this moment, because it's gonna just the next week you're gonna have a new national title. No one is going to be saying the reigning national champs Georgia Bulldogs. You're no longer saying that anymore.
Yeah, it is interesting to look back and just see how much guys like Stetson Bennett, where you felt they were there forever.
Yeah.
They kind of were, and now they're almost 2 years removed from the team. Mm-hmm. It is weird to see how quick time has passed.
And it's going to happen with this next batch even quicker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're going into our last years of Malachi Starks. We're going into our last year of Malachi Starks.
Yep.
We're going to our last 15 games of Michael Williams, you would imagine.
Yep.
So enjoy.
You feel like you've been hearing about Carson Beck for 4 years now, and he's about to start his final season. So it's really interesting to see how quickly it goes. I'm sure there's going to be a moment where oh my God, KJ Bolden and all these other Ellis Robinson, all these guys are already done with their careers. So
no doubt.
It's weird. I'm getting old.
I think that 50 wins might hold. The 50 wins record of this senior class?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
This next class is going to do it, I bet.
I don't know, man.
This senior
they have to. I would imagine you have to keep pace of 12-1.
This next senior class will have 3 straight undefeated seasons, and then whatever they do next year.
On top of the fact that they didn't have a shortened season in 2020.
Okay, never mind. I take that back.
So this next class,
after this one,
they'll hold it.
Good luck.
They will hold it.
Yeah, especially with Texas and Oklahoma coming into the conference. It's hard to believe that you're going to keep ripping 13-0 seasons.
No,
yeah. You are going to hypothetically get an extra game added to extra 2 games added to your season.
That's fair.
So
we're really gonna have unpaid labor out here playing 17 college football games.
Yeah,
man. That's nuts. It's knucking futz, man. Knucking futz out here.